Welcome back to the Talky Taka podcast, listeners. And we are reconvening after the semifinals. And if you have heard our last episode, we had quite a big discussion about the head and the heart. The head said Argentina and France would win, and the heart said we hoped for a Morocco victory. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your allegiances, it's going to be Argentina versus France in the final, going for a third World Cup each, while Croatia and Morocco will face off each other in the third place playoff. That one game that no one probably intends on playing when they start their careers, right? Anyway, so to discuss all of this, we have on the panel today RK, Ashwin, and Radhaji. I'll go first to Ashwin. Ashwin, how's it been? How was the semi-final experience for you, and what's your talkie point?
Uh, yeah, Swag, I think this World Cup just keeps on giving, right? Like it is, like the both the semi-finals was so good to watch. I was hooked onto the television, from Messi rolling back the years to Mbappe showing his class. I think like it was just a treat to the eyes. My talkie moment of the week is actually something off the field, and it was just in the run up to the semifinals after Morocco had beaten Portugal. There's this video of this girl who had who was interviewed after the game, and she basically says Ronaldo's probably crying in his car, poor Ronaldo. And all those people who were Ronaldo fans, but also like kind of neutrals, started hating Morocco right away. So she became like public enemy number one. So it was just a hilarious moment for me personally, because I feel like social media is so twisted that people can take or vent out against a harmless girl. So it was just funny, but I hope like people forgive that girl, Ronaldo fans forgive that girl, and then we move on.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, even if Ronaldo was crying in his car, I'm pretty sure he was not poor considering the value of that car. Anyway, bad jokes aside, RK, how was it for you? Happy about the final that we've got? And what was your talkie point?
Yeah, very happy about this final. Despite all the upsets, we have two of the pre-tournament favorites that have entered the final, and I guess I am very excited about that final. I think most people are. It's a old lion versus new a champion kind of a battle that's going to happen. For me, very memorable two matches, but I will of course there was the Messi solo run and dribble, but I will go for the Morocco performance. So one of the moments from the Morocco performance is my talking moment, where El Yamik on a corner is like suddenly gets the ball at a favorable height and goes for the bicycle kick. It clips the post and a Loris save as well. I think if that had gone in, Morocco would have been very much in the game and pushed France all the way. So very strong, very courageous performance as by Morocco as always, and my hearts went out to them the way they played. So that's my moment of the week.
Yeah, one of those what if moments. You wonder what would have happened if that had gone in. Maybe, I mean, they put France under quite a lot of pressure. It wasn't just one-way traffic, so maybe something else could have happened, but not to be. Finally, Radhaji, last but not least, how's it been for you? Happy, you said Argentina versus France. You were confused between which of these two was going to be your favorite. I think you finally settled on France. So,
Yeah, I think France are definitely the better team, the more complete team, which is what I was saying last time out, and I think that still stands. They showed that they can hit you from different ways, but I mean, just disappointed to see the back of Morocco. Not so much about Croatia. Croatia, I think, happy to see the back of them, to be really honest. But Morocco, especially after the performance against France, I didn't think they were capable. Sad to see them go drinking a little bit of rosé instead of whiskey on their behalf today. My talky moment actually comes from that game. Although Messi stole the show in the other game, for me the moment of the weekend was Kylian Mbappe blasting past two guys in the Morocco team. Like, he really made Sofiane look slow as he crossed him and went into another stratosphere, and then suddenly he slowed it all down and Sofiane caught up with him and made probably the greatest tackle of the week. Incredible moment. I think he just it embodied so much about Morocco's spirit, that they are far behind everybody else, but through their heart and grit, they actually caught up. They were able to compete at the same level as everyone else. Really a great moment in the game, and I think one of the real stars of the tournament.
Yeah, one of those moments which you remember long after the World Cup is finished. And as you said, quite a lot of Moroccan players will will leave this tournament with their reputations greatly enhanced, and we might see quite a lot of movements for them in the winter transfer window as well. Maybe let's wait and watch on that one. But to get started with, let's start off with Argentina and Croatia. I mean, for me, my talkie point, if you ask me, was Modric leaving the world stage. I mean, I know that there's still the third, fourth place playoff to come, but this was the one that mattered, and truly one of the modern greats leaving the world stage, substituted in the game. So, what are our thoughts on this one? Messi magic, but it was a pretty dark game, right? Not as fun as the other semi-final, but yeah.
Yeah, we have to start off with that piece of magic from Messi. I don't think there's a better place to start this match off with. In the previous episode, Radha was talking about people falling in love with the game, especially those who have maybe not too engrossed as engrossed in it as we are on a week by week basis. And I think uh, the amount of messages that that goal has produced, that dribble has produced on various social media groups and everywhere around us, and the amount of love that it has generated for football and for Messi, like, you have to at some level congratulate people like Messi that they are able to make people enjoy their lives for at least that 5-10 seconds that they are watching. It was such a memorable piece of magic that he showed, going on the outside of a guy who is like 10, 15 years younger than him and one of the best centre backs in this tournament and probably in the world right now. Going back and forth, getting into the box from a very tight angle, and that brilliant piece of movement from Alvarez to be in the right place to tuck that ball in. I mean, it was everything that you can ask for, and all these kind of moments in this tournament, it's has very much made it a throwback tournament for Messi fans, and it's really been emotional watching him, and it feels a bit like Tendulkar in 2011 World Cup, which is why it would really feel a bit sad if Argentina are not able to win that final for me.
Yeah, I get where I think half the world, maybe more than half the world, is leaning in a similar direction to RK. I'm not personally as invested. For me, he's the GOAT no matter what. I don't think this game has any bearing on that. But I mean, that being said, it's just hair raising. It's thrilling. The number of times this World Cup you've just really got up off your seat and felt like you were teenagers looking at something that's happening. You're experiencing something great for the first time. I don't think anything else in the world makes you feel this way so consistently. I mean, you never get tired of football, I guess. But the Brazil game against South Korea, the moment that Wout Weghorst threw up, the Messi turn on Guardiola, oh my God, these are just seriously seared in the back of my mind. I'll never ever forget this World Cup. I was listening to some of the other podcasts, the usual ones on the Athletic, and a lot of them were actually saying that they don't want to do another Winter World Cup, or they didn't feel like the quality of this World Cup was up to scratch. I cannot disagree more with that. This is easily my favorite World Cup. One in terms of moments, upsets, all of that as well. But the sheer playing quality, I think the likes of Spain and Germany were actually playing outstanding football. You also have the likes of Morocco, who not just not the Greece kind of surprising and upsetting everybody, defending well, but also attacking really efficiently and with flair. Absolutely love this World Cup, and I can't have anybody saying that this has been a poor World Cup in terms of quality, or a lesser than World Cup in terms of quality. I'll remember this one forever. I think this is the greatest World Cup I've ever watched.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think like I agree with both RK and rather RK more so on the Messi front. Before this World Cup, we were talking about Messi or Ronaldo's last dance. I think we are living through at least Messi's last dance. Um, Especially that assist which led to the goal. He rolled back the years like anything. Like to do that to one of the greatest defenders or the best defender rather of this particular World Cup is just outstanding and mind blowing. I was reading somewhere that Guardiola's his market value has shot up to like 120 million or 130 million, which just goes to show, he's one of the better defenders out there, and he made him look like Harry Maguire or something, right? So it was just incredible to watch. And over the past 3-4 years, or 2 years rather, when Messi left Barcelona, some of his godlike status has kind of waned. But this World Cup has just reminded us of how good a player he is and how good a player he can be, and almost change the game. When he decides to change it. So it's just been incredible to watch Messi.
Yeah, I think Ashwin might be in the Messi camp now, probably a bit for retribution of what
I,
the other
it's
contender.
it's okay to like both Messi and Ronaldo. All right, you don't need to be on Team Messi or Team Ronaldo. It's like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. You can like both.
You forgot to mention Djokovic. Anyway,
But you can't, yeah, you can't like Djokovic. If you like Rafa and Roger, you can't like Djokovic. So I see why the world decides to divide itself into parts.
yeah, and you just said Guardiola's value has increased massively. I think after that turn from Messi, I think he might have lost some 20 million of that valuation immediately. His agent must have been on the phone. Please lock in the price now itself. Anyway,
There's
RK, yeah,
there's some. I think Guardiola is the equivalent of cryptocurrency. The valuation sky high and then shot down. But to be fair, he was really good all through the World Cup. Sometimes you have to take a step back. I looked at that video a few times trying to find out, hey, did he do something wrong? Sometimes you just need to take a step back and say, okay, this is the greatest player that you've ever seen, and he just turned somebody inside out. He's done it to Jerome Boateng in his peak as well. I mean, sometimes you just need to take a step back and say, okay, enough.
Look, you might blame me for Schadenfreude again, but I think Guardiola is being talked about too much. If Lukaku had converted even two of his golden four chances, I think his valuation wouldn't be so high before that Messi moment.
I agree with you, RK. I don't buy so much of the hype. I do agree that he's been great. He's been good, right? But I don't think he's like the best defender in the world or best young defender in the world or the World Cup or anything of that sort. I think he's been good. I think they've both conceded a lot of mistakes in this World Cup. His one-on-one play has been really good, but I think positionally there have been questions, as we saw from Lovren as well in the first goal that they conceded.
yeah. RK, any thoughts about the tactics of the game? Do you think that anything interesting came out of the way Argentina and Croatia were set up?
Yeah, so Argentina really interested in with their choice of formation in the previous game against Netherlands, where they kind of mirrored Netherlands formation, and then in this game also what they tried to do was they didn't mirror Croatia. They tried to outwit Croatia in the middle of the pitch, so they went in with a midfield diamond, hoping that it would allow them to have numerical superiority and they would be able to compete with that metronomic position better, right? But to be fair, well, the idea seemed very strong on paper and they have good midfielders, but it didn't work out in the first 30 minutes. Argentina were forced to kind of concede territory and Croatia were dominating the ball to a even greater extent than they did against Brazil, and while not being able to create chances. However, I think that was the main tactical, I think, like talking point in the game, which kind of changed on its head, once that first goal happened. And, we haven't talked about Alvarez at all. I think probably not much, but, he's ended up on 4 goals now. And it's like 5 goals Mbappe, 5 goals Messi, 4 goals Giroud and Alvarez. So it's going to be a proper shootout. So what do you guys, think of how Alvarez has contributed here?
I think really, really amazing step up to the highest level, I would say. He comes really highly rated, of course, but what he's doing in this team is okay. One, you take the output that Lautaro Martinez has been struggling on scoring goals and stuff like that, and clearly Alvarez has his scoring boots on. But I think we can all agree that as great as Messi is, he's not really working for the team, right? So he's not playing that 11th position in the team while off the ball as much as any other team would want. I think that's where Alvarez has really scored points, and that midfield that they have. They are all, I think, collectively doing the work of one extra person. I think we said the same thing about Kante in the previous World Cup, where he was almost doing the work of 3 people. So I think that has definitely played a part in the balance that we are seeing in Argentina. They do look a lot better than they did, say, I thought the best that they played was the first game against Saudi Arabia. Somehow they lost that, but after that they've actually not been very convincing, and I think that level of play has improved lately. I think they're able to one, put pressure on the opposition and win the ball back, but also even if they try to build up, they are having people run. They are having runners all around the place. So that way, it's looking good for Argentina, and it's just a matter of whether they can really scale it up and take it to the best team of the World Cup. Probably that's France.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add to that is, Messi and Martinez wasn't working for them at all. So they made that tweak, and Alvarez complements Messi really well. He does all the donkey work. He's not just a striker for, he's also like doing some of the defensive work when Messi is unable to kind of, I don't want to use the word, I don't want to say track back, but more like when he is not able to get to the ball. That's when Alvarez does that. And the two midfielders, De Paul and McAllister, who, by the way, I realize is Irish. Anyways, they do a lot of work off the ball as well. And I think they almost fill the void that Messi kind of leaves behind. You can feel that the entire team is kind of centered around you getting the best out of Messi, and I think that's what they did in this game as well.
Yeah, I also like the fact that they played the midfield that they played in this match. It made no attempts to really play wide in like a traditional formation that one would have expected them to have played. I think they went pretty heavy in the midfield, knowing full well that that's where the game was won against Brazil by Croatia. I think they had the personnel to, one, take them man for man, but also to find the forward runners fast, which is, I think, all the goals that if you look at it, except the Messi one, well, actually even the Messi one was off a really fast break. So they had the people in midfield who recovered the ball, but it was immediately looking forward to play that long pass in. I think the issue that Brazil got sucked into was they got pulled down into Croatia's A game, which is like play it around slowly in front of Croatia, and Argentina didn't get sucked into that. Yeah, they had an uncomfortable start of the game, but immediately after they got one look at the forward run being made, they immediately played the long pass in behind, and Lovren shouldn't have dropped off. He should have maintained his line. He should have stepped up, but that opened up the game. And after that, Argentina, I think, had a very clear thing. Okay, that this is the tactic that's going to work against Croatia. The second the second goal was luck, but the approach was very clear. They were being very direct and through the center. And maybe that's something that France would like to do as well. It's going to be strange because their best players are down in the wings.
Yeah, I guess you guys, I think that was a very clear illustration of what Argentina tried to do, which Brazil couldn't. Putting in those balls in behind, and that's where Alvarez also complements. In addition to his off the ball, he also complements Messi on the ball, where he tries to, either stretch it down the wings or provide width as well as make the runs in behind. So And you have guys like Enzo Fernandez who can seem a bit, a normal in position, but in his line breaking passes and the shot that he takes outside the box, he's very spectacular, right? But talking of midfielders, I think just a word on Croatia midfield as well, right? Kovacic, I thought had the game. I think he was the best player on both sides in that first half, or at least in the first 30 minutes. He was constantly, his ball carrying was really spectacular, and Brozovic as well. So when Brozovic got substituted at halftime, I still don't know whether that was an injury or was it a tactical change, but Croatia really lost control after that, I thought. And Argentina, when you talk of control, right, they don't really look at control from a ball position perspective, but it's not really very boring of the position as well. It's more of, they control territory and chances rather than, trying to control position all the time. So I think Argentina for me look convincing and look solid in terms of, what it takes to win a World Cup while they're not exciting.
Yeah, and they will be up against a France team which is spearheaded by Mbappe and Giroud. So we've got 5 goals for Messi and 5 for Mbappe, and just behind them are Alvarez and Giroud at 4. So all the forwards, the firing forwards coming up against each other for the Golden Boot as well. So France broke African hearts, Arab hearts, and neutral hearts, and got rid of Morocco in the semi-final. It was a much more interesting affair personally for me as compared to the first semi-final. I mean, just another of those what if moments. What if Saiss was completely fit? What if Morocco had more players ready and at 100%? But that's life, right? I mean, you can't prepare for things like these, and that's why you have a 26-member squad. So, what are your thoughts on this one? France superior, but Morocco gave a good account of themselves.
Just before we move into the game, the 26 member squad might prove to be critical in the next match. The 26th man is getting choppered in for France, potentially, is what we're hearing. It's going to be one of those, those James Bond-esque helicopter onto the pitch kind of moments. That's something to look forward to in the next game. But yeah, before that, let's cover what happened in the semi.
Like Juan Mata for Manchester United, you mean?
Yeah, imagine Benzema just dropping from the sky at minute 60 or minute 70 and straight away just doing a bicycle kick while still in the air.
You have these introductions that have happened at Old Trafford, right? So United fans can connect, but just imagine, I would say that helicopter lands in right at halftime when there's big music and all going on, and Benzema comes out of that in proper kits.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
but yeah, going back to the semi-final, RK, from your tactics corner, what do you think? Was the setup change that Morocco did for the semi-final? Did that cause quite a lot of discomfort to them? Should they have stuck to the original plan?
this is a matter of debate given that the goal happened so early, right? And I read a lot of opinions saying that that formation cost them the match. For me, I was really impressed with the fact that they decided to go in with that change, having 3 at the back and dedicating, people like Hakimi and Mazraoui to be wing backs was something which was very convincing for me, at least on paper, and it should have worked out. I think the reason that they lost the first goal was more because the centre back kind of charged out and lost space to Griezmann. The rebound and everything that happened, I think Morocco defended their box very well, but the rebound was just unkind for them. So I was definitely in favor of trying to kind of force Mbappe out of the game. We saw England do it in a slightly different way, which also kind of de facto was a wing back system only, where Saka was defending like a wing back and Walker was defending as a centre back. I thought Morocco would go for that approach. So not really for me, but I think all those injuries and the goal forced them to come back into their original shape, which when you are trailing a goal behind obviously works better. And boy, did Morocco really impress us the way that they, attacked and like progressed the ball with that shape. Very, very impressive. Amrabat and of course Onahi. I read a comment saying that this is N'Golo Kante, but 10 years younger. He was all over the pitch and showed real. It's not just engine that these guys have. They have real skill, real talent. Whether we talk of Onahi, Amrabat, ZH, or that magician Bofal, I mean, there's a lot of talent in that team.
Yeah, so I think one thing I was looking forward to actually in the game was France having a few attacks, Morocco breaking and taking their wingers one on one versus France's fullbacks. Actually, saw very little of that because I thought that Morocco had only one style of play, one way of playing effectively. But this game actually showed me that they are actually adaptable. And what we've seen so far in the tournament is that they've been holding a really compact, low block and breaking fast and getting, I think, two, three, or four of their really skillful players in close proximity to each other, and then relying on their skill and their decision making to actually make good moves, which has done really well. It reminded me a little bit of the Chicago Bulls triangle offense, where you put a structure in mind, but at the end of the day, you let the players on the field kind of, or on the court, take the decisions and bring the flair out that makes a good attacking situation. Morocco did remind me of that moments kind of team, but this time they pretty much dominated the game. So I mean, 2-0 is a really harsh scoreline. I think they absolutely, from the first moment after the goal, early goal, by the way, that actually, that goal was an interesting, all the stuff that they did showed how much they fear Mbappe in that goal. They had, I think, five guys in front of Mbappe and nobody in the back post where the goal came from. But ever since then, they dominated the game until Mbappe brought out some magic again later on. So I'm very impressed with their overall play. Their individual players, I think, have stolen the show in this World Cup. Hakim Ziyech, I don't know what Abu is smoking there at Chelsea, but he's clearly a world-class player. But Sofian is one of my favorite players of the World Cup, and I was shocked to see that he's like a 25-year-old playing in a top league already in Fiorentina. So I've had no idea who he was before this World Cup. His partner Unahi also has really stepped up. Coming to your question, Swag, though, I think they made a big mistake playing Roman Saiz. They corrected that eventually out of force, because Roman Saiz should have never been playing football. I think he's torn some muscle or done something of that sort. He should never have been on the pitch. He almost paid for it. I think Giroud had a couple of great chances before Morocco got into the game. But the moment they changed the formation back to a back four, Morocco again started playing well. So probably a mistake from the coach, maybe a little emotional decision there. But yeah, nothing negative to say about this team. I'm so happy to have witnessed them this tournament, especially the moments on the pitch with their mothers and things like that. Apart from the football, those are the moments that I'll definitely remember all through the tournament. That's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, quick point on the low block, right? Because we are so used to watching teams like Burnley and Stoke City, and we feel that, low block teams, they basically hope for some magic to happen. They will defend their life out of the game, and then maybe they'll get a header or, some goal from a set piece. But it was so refreshing to watch, how flexible Morocco was, and let's not forget, even Japan for that matter. Like, that game against Spain, they were defending, but then they have this sudden burst of energy, and then they just let loose and like get that goal. So Morocco did that to very good effect in this edition of the World Cup. They are a very well coached, very well managed team, and I think they have the flair players to get them the attacking chances when they so desire. Before this game, I boldly predicted that Morocco might win. I was surprised that they did so well, because I think that prediction came more from the heart than the brain, really. But like, it was so good to watch Morocco and their fans. Like, when I was at the World Cup, apart from the usual Argentine and Mexican fans, I was really impressed with the unity displayed by the Moroccan fans, and they have just been a pleasure to watch. So I hope they get the third spot. I think there's still something to play for, but I think they won all of our hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think quite a lot of their players will, as I mentioned before, probably see a higher profile than before. And even their manager, you'll obviously definitely just start to see him get linked with these club jobs in Europe. And can he, I don't know, even takeover from Gareth Southgate, for example. Do we really need that? Is it not better that this guy's doing something there? He's building his own legacy. Particularly the fact that he came in not too far behind in history, right? It's not as if he made them qualify for the World Cup. I think Radha mentioned this before the World Cup started that this guy had their previous manager had this water thing with one of their stars. I think Amrabat, if I'm not mistaken, and
Mazraoui. And yeah, so I think if in Game of Thrones terminology, he's the usurper.
yeah, but kudos to him, man. He's come in and he's made a difference. So yeah, good for him.
Really elite tactics, and like when you look at it from all the aspects of what he's done from a managerial point of view, with respect to even man management, he's brought people like Hakim Ziyech who were kind of left in the cold by the previous manager, having a bad season at Chelsea, blamed for a lack of work ethic. He's brought them completely on board. He's allowed, he's created such a good team ethic with all the families and all coming in and being allowed to stay together. So man management part he got spot on. He's got his tactics spot on, and as you guys said, he's capable of playing in different ways. For me, this guy is the real find of the tournament, and he's already a world class manager for me. In his in his milieu and in his own conditions, he's absolutely world class.
Definitely, Morocco is one of the highlights of the World Cup. And in part two, we'll do this preview. But before that, one of the penultimate quizzes of the World Cup coming up.